Oftentimes when you think of an American sports car, a Ford Mustang quickly comes to mind. Now back in 2015, Ford gave the Mustang a pretty significant overhaul for the 6th generation. So after 3 years on the market, we're looking at a 2018 model that has been significantly refreshed. And I'm just outside of Portland, Oregon. We're testing out a GT premium model with the all-new 10-speed automatic. So are the changes enough for Ford to keep the Mustang fresh? That's what we're here to find out. So taking a closer look at the front end and all the changes Ford has made, in fact, I think it actually looks pretty decent out in the real world, especially in this particular color combination. Ford calls this lightning blue with the black package. So you get a blacked out grille, the headlights are slightly blacked out, you have standard LED headlights on all the trims of the Mustang, whereas the pre-refresh model had by xenon headlights, so of course they've upgraded there. This particular one, of course, does have the LED fog lights below. You have an incandescent turn signal, and overall, I really think this look for this new Mustang is definitely something that is starting to grow on me. It still has that low, wide appearance. It's got a very long hood because this car is available with several different engine configurations. Now at the side, because my tester here has the black package, you have these unique set of 19-inch black finished wheels on 255 series tires all around. Now, these are all season tires. This is probably not the setup that I would prefer on a Mustang. You can get like a GT performance package, a level 1 and a level 2. The taillights are refreshed, but you don't really notice it quite as much as the front end. You still have those sequential LED taillights with the GT badge in the back. It's also blacked out here. This particular one has the $900 active performance exhaust. Now this is a new option for 2018. It's something that the Mustang seriously needed because it sounds so much better now. It's to better compete with the Camaro with its small block V8. Now, when you want to open up the trunk of the Mustang, the actual release is down here. And the trunk capacity is pretty much unchanged. You're looking at around 13.5 cubic feet of space. The seats do fold down 60/40 for added versatility, and the opening is definitely larger than what you're going to get in the Camaro, although the Challenger still has a bigger trunk. Now, being this is the GT Premium, it does come standard with Ford's smart key access system with push button start. You can see here is the current Ford key fob I've showed you guys before. It's a pretty big key fob, and it does include remote start, which is nice. To activate the remote start, just double tap this button here, or first push the lock button, then double tap this button here. And then the vehicle will start right up for you. To turn off the vehicle, just double tap the remote start button again. It does have kind of like the premium interior upgrade with the contrasting blue stitching. It's the black leather, obviously. You can also option in like a saddle leather, a brown leather, or a red leather. I would highly recommend the brown or the red leather to kind of brighten up this cabin. But Ford made some changes to it. The steering wheel is pretty much the same. The seats look the same. You can still get the Recaro seats. These are heated and cooled. I would stick with these seats because I like the cooled function. And really, because I have the premium trim level and the 401A upgrade package, it gives you some nicer elements here in the cabin. Now, stepping inside this interior, you can see the Mustang still has a very low step-in height, but other than that, it has a pretty decent view out of the windshield. Now, when you shut the door itself sounds decent. It's a two-door car. It's also a pillarless glass. It sounds a little tinny from some times that I slammed it. Now, when you want to start the vehicle up, just put keep the key fob inside the vehicle, and then push this button here to fire up the engine. And the first thing I'm immediately noticing is this new LCD display. I really like this upgraded display. It's a 12-inch display that you get when you option in the 401A upgrade package. It's a customizable display as well. So if you want to change the drive mode here, it's linked to the drive modes. When you go to like a sport setting, you can see here it changes the tack. Also the track mode also changes the tack even further. I'll show you that really quick. You can see there's a Sport Plus, normal mode, track mode here, You can see it changes the tack completely, and it tells you for track use only. For the majority of the test drive, of course, I'm going to be leaving it in just the normal or the My mode to show you guys that. Now, let's take a look at the rest of the interior here because it has been updated. It still has that dual cowl look, which is nice. You have a soft touch, stitched portion here with the contrasting stitching. It's kind of like a faux stitching, however, but it's nice and soft touch. You have this carbon fiber look plastic trim, which is nice. The door panel here is also nice and soft touch. You get that on the premium models. I've seen some Mustangs, the lower trims, that have a hard touch material here. More soft touch right there. You have some silver painted accents here, aluminum accented door handle. You have memory seats, which is why I'd get the premium model. The windows are one touch automatic down and up for both windows, which is nice. The steering wheel, it's a tilt telescoping design. It has paddles on the wheel. It feels really good in your hands. It's a very large diameter steering wheel, so that takes some getting used to. Down here you can see there's some faux stitching on the center stack here. The plastic feels okay. You have the latest version of Ford's Sync 3 with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Ford is also one of the first manufacturers to show us Waze integration, which I don't believe the Mustang has it yet. The Lincoln Navigator was the first vehicle that I tested that actually had that, but nevertheless, Ford's system, it works pretty well. It's like a tablet, although I do think it's time for them to upgrade the actual screen resolution quality, which would be nice. Over here, you can see this is the 10-speed transmission. When you put the vehicle into reverse, you do have a backup camera right there, which gives you trajectory. It does have parking sensors on this particular one, so that's definitely nice to have. The transmission itself, I like the traditional shifter. I probably would definitely want to try it with the 6-speed manual. You have more stitching here along the center console, which kind of replaces the cheap plastic I've seen in other models. More cup holders here. There's some decent amount of storage over here with a USB port, a power outlet, and then my tester just kind of has the standard headliner here. I believe Ford used to have a glass roof option. I don't think they offer that anymore, and no sunroof. You can't get a Mustang with a sunroof. You have to go for a convertible. The front seats I find to be pretty comfortable, and then the glove compartment here is decently sized. It's not lined with felt, but I mean overall the interior, love the changes that Ford made. I really especially love that customizable display. You have switches here for your stability control off, your drive mode settings, your hazard switch, another USB port there. I think Ford definitely did a good job at keeping this interior fresh, and most buyers are going to be pretty happy. They're going to get in this interior and know how to use it for the most part. Now, I imagine most of you who buy a Mustang don't particularly use the rear seat, but I figured I'd show you guys the space back there is. Now, when you want to get to the rear seat area, Ford makes it relatively easy. This lever here, it reclines the seat forward. However, it doesn't actually push the seat forward. Now, this one being a power seat, you have to manually push the button here and move it forward, which this one makes a really nice creaking noise when it actually does move forward. But that's the biggest space it'll give you, so let me get back here really quick. Now, I'm 5'7". And let's put I'm gonna put the seat back here, which you kind of have to yank this lever here, which now it doesn't want to come back. There we go. Okay, so this is with the front seat pretty much all the way up, and I have okay legroom, but of course, then the person in the front seat doesn't actually have any space. Now, the roof, because it's kind of a fastback, my head is touching the ceiling, so this back seat is literally reserved for little kids or people you don't like. The seat back itself only seats 2. There's no armrest here. There's no vents. It's all hard touch plastic materials in here, so it's pretty Spartan. Really, the rear seats are just going to be for emergency use, occasional use, or just to put stuff back here. So underneath the hood of the refreshed Mustang, Ford made a pretty significant amount of changes. Now, first of all, what they did do is they killed the V6. So if you guys like the V6, I'm sorry, you're stuck with either the EcoBoost or the V8. The EcoBoost has been upgraded by 30 pound-feet, still making 310 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. However, this is the motor you want. This is the 5-liter Coyote V8 upgraded with direct and port injection. It's got a higher Redline now, so it's taken some parts from the Shelby GT350's motor. This revs up to 7,500 RPM, so it's a really impressive naturally aspirated V8. And because of that, power is also up. You're looking at 460 horsepower, an increase of 25, and about 420 pound-feet of torque. So again, these are pretty impressive numbers, and now it has 5 more horsepower than the 2018 Camaro. I don't believe the 19s have that refresh. Now, all Mustangs are rear-wheel drive. You can take your pick between a 6-speed manual, which is also new for the V8 this year, or a new 10-speed transmission, automatic transmission, co-developed with GM. We've tried that transmission in the F-150. Fuel economy for this all-new powertrain has also been improved. The GT with the 10-speed auto is now rated at 16 in the city, 25 on the highway, which is 1 up versus the previous generation model. Let's get out on the road and see how this all performs, shall we? So I've been getting a lot of requests to drive the 2018 Mustang. I mean, the last one I drove was a 2015 a few years ago, so it's long overdue. And Ford made a significant amount of changes, especially the GT model. Now, this one having the active exhaust, the new 10-speed transmission. Let's get out on the road and see how it performs. And that active exhaust is the one thing this car truly needed, because I complained in my 2015 Mustang that it was a little too too quiet. The Camaro, especially with its, small block 6.2 and its active exhaust, really just kind of outdid the Mustang. Now, when you start up the car, it defaults to kind of like a normal mode. I'm gonna swap this transmission into the My mode, which basically I customized it to put the steering, or the engine response in Sport Plus, the steering in Sport, and the exhaust in Track. Now, with a muscle car like this, you want it to be loud. I mean, especially when you guys get the V8. The V6, as you guys know, is gone, so you expect the V8 to deliver the goods, to deliver that muscle car feel. So, first setting off in the new Mustang, I have to say, this car still feels relatively the same. Now, my tester, I don't believe it has the Magno rheological dampers. The Maroni, when I looked at it, said it had it, although it also said it had the performance package, and this car clearly does not have the performance package. So I'm going to assume this has the conventional suspension, which has been slightly revised this year. The Mustang, to me, still falls along the line of the middle of the ground. The Camaro still feels the sportiest to drive. The Challenger is just the biggest boat, the biggest pig, of course. But the Mustang strikes a nice middle ground. This isn't even the lightest or the smallest car in the segment anymore. That distinction goes to the all-new Camaro, which is on that wonderful Alpha platform. But we're going to come to a stop here. We're going to put our foot down. We're going to see how this actually feels. Turn the traction control off and let's floor it. Man, the stock GT has really gotten freaking ridiculous. Now, Ford says this car will get to 60 in 4 seconds. That feels about right. Now, the exhaust itself sounds really good, but I have to say, I think I still prefer the Camaro's 6.2 V8 with that small block. But let's try this acceleration one more time. This is a Mustang after all. We're going to turn the traction control off, and we're going to try doing a little bit of a brake torque, or like a launch control effect here. Let's see. Oh my God, that's fantastic. I mean, 460 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. This car's engine is definitely still kind of a screamer. I mean, it screams all the way to 7,500 RPM, and the V8 loves to rev that high, so it's incredible. It truly is still a fantastic driving car. Now, when you start pushing the Mustang around some corners here, how does it do? Well, the steering is pretty well weighted. It has decent feedback. The precision is there. It's relatively quick, although I don't really know what the tires are doing. The front tires don't really talk to me. The ride quality is also definitely on the firmer side. This is in its sport mode and whatnot, so it's not unbearable for sure. The Challenger still has a softer ride than this, but the Camaro, I think, actually may ride slightly better. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, now this has the independent rear suspension, which Ford added, which is great for this generation Mustang. But in terms of the handling dynamic, this is a capable car. I haven't actually driven the Shelby GT350. I know that one's the track-capable Mustang, but I really want to get my hands on something with the performance package to really feel the handling differences. This one, with those 18-inch wheels that this one has, the black finished wheels, it's a fine car, but I personally think the Camaro is still the best handling car. I haven't also driven the refreshed Camaro, but that last one I drove, that 2016 SS, was just so lovely. Such a fantastic car, but really the Mustang still will hold its own, and that new active exhaust with the 5-liter Coyote motor is a big welcome addition to this car. Let's turn off the traction control again. I'm gonna see if I can get it to do a burnout. The Mustang will easily do that. Just turn off the traction control and just put your foot down. Oh God, this is such a hooligan kind of a car. This is why I probably could never get a muscle car. I would just probably just do so many idiotic things just because you can. This is fantastic. But yeah, my tester just has the all-season tires, so that's another reason why it's so easy to get the back tires to just spin. But you know, I have to say, the seats are comfortable in this car. I like the seats. I probably would skip the Recaro. These ones are heated and cooled, which I like. The visibility in here is also not bad. The side mirrors are small. My tester has blind spot monitoring because it's the premium model, which is good. The hood, definitely, you know, you have a big view, or you have a big, you know, bulge out of the hood, so it takes some getting used to. It's easier to see out of versus the Camaro, but man, going over some bumps here, this car definitely likes to hop around. I would probably say I need to try this car out with the magno-rheological dampers, just because I find that the body gets a little bit twitchy. It's definitely not the most handling focused car. The Mustang still feels very much sports car like. Now, the Challenger is really the only muscle car in the segment. But I would love to drive the Camaro SS 1LE and, you know, a Mustang GT Performance Pack back to back to truly see the differences. I'm not entirely sure what I think about this 10-speed auto. It's, you know, a great transmission. It shifts quick. It has 4 more gears versus the old one. You know, previously I would say get the manual GT, get the manual, but I need to drive a manual GT again back to back with this 10-speed auto. This is a great transmission, and honestly, most of you probably end up picking the automatic anyways. It's got the launch control function. It's got the drag start function. And it's a really big improvement for sure. But, you know, with a car like this, I just want to have the manual. The manual is just something that I would have to go with because it's a muscle car, a sports car. It's a Mustang, for Christ's sakes. But, whew, the updates that Ford made are really impressive, and they definitely do keep the Mustang competitive in this, you know, pony car segment. So if you guys haven't been in the market for a modern American sports car in a long time, I think it's pretty safe to say if you check something out that's available in 2018, you'll be very, very surprised at just how performance-oriented these American sports cars have become. The Mustang was one of the first ones to kind of go in that direction, especially when Ford added an independent rear suspension for this all-new 6th generation back in 2015. So after spending some time with the 2018 model with all the changes, I think Ford has definitely addressed a lot of the issues I had with the 2015 model. It now sounds a lot better. The 10-speed transmission is a really great partner, although I would probably still go for the 6-speed manual. The V8 still revs really nicely. It's smooth. It has plenty of linear power, which is really important. And although I haven't driven the EcoBoost model, which I believe is also available with an active exhaust, I'd probably say if you're going to go for a Mustang, you got to go for the V8 version. The GT is just too good to pass up, especially at this price. With all that said, what's it going to cost to put a Mustang like this in your driveway? When a Mustang started around $26,500 for a GT base model. If you want the premium package, which gives you like the leather, the heated seats, the cooled seats, the upgraded sync sound system, I'd recommend it for about $5 grand. The GT model starts about $10,000 more than a base EcoBoost, at around $35,000, $4,000 more for the premium package like this one. And then my tester, of course, being a Mustang, is available with a crap ton of options, although it is missing a few that I would probably want. It's got a 401A upgrade package, which gives you like the upgraded in-dash display, that 12-inch reconfigurable display for $2,200, $1,500 for the safe and security package, which gives you like adaptive cruise, the black package for another $1,000, the active exhaust for $1,000. All in, this one stickers for $47,000. And again, you could easily option up a Mustang this generation to be over $50,000, which is kind of an eye-opening amount of money. But to be honest, these modern muscle cars have really become more and more like sports cars, and really you can't really go wrong. This is a really great car, although the new Challenger, you know, Hellcat can be had for pretty similar money, especially now that you're factoring all the dealer discounts. That particular one over there, I'm also kind of driving at the same time, really reminds me just how good these muscle cars have gotten, although that's kind of the pig in the segment. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2018 Ford Mustang GT. For all the so looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram. And please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video. Some beautiful scenery. I have to admit, the front end is definitely starting to grow on me. In fact, this little chipmunk here might actually like it too. But anyway, this little chipmunk is going to ruin.
He was crawling up my leg.
I know.
That was good.
Don't embarrass yourself. People are watching. Yes. Really, Rob? Really, Rob? Rob, you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself, Rob. Turn off the stability control, Rob. Turn off the stability control. Let go of the brake. There you go, Rob. You made me proud. Yes, that was better.